From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. Ooh, I like when you press that one.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblum, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on sportstalksc.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-895. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network. What a show we got for you tonight because there's so much going on. And, of course, here on Sports Talk, we're trying to stay on top of it all. Phil Kornblum and Pat Daniel here in our Columbia studios, and Chris Bergen joining us from down in Pensacola, Florida, where the Sun Belt Conference basketball tournament eventually will be getting underway, and eventually Coastal Carolina is going to get to play. The Clemson women.
Not true.
Oh, what's the deal?
Sun Belt tournament actually got underway this morning, actually this afternoon. Yeah, the Coastal women actually a 91-76 win over Arkansas State. Mild upset as a 9 seed beating an 8 seed. And Phil, how about this for your debut in the tournament this year? Asia Blunt for the Chanticleers, probably their best player. A career-high 41 points today. She was 14 of 18 from the field. Narrowly missed out on a double-double with 8 rebounds. Coastal shot over 50% from the field. The men watched that game, so hopefully they got some inspiration from their lady counterparts in how to play right out of the blocks, because that was one of Coastal's better performances of the season. So the Sun Belt tournament on the ladies' side underway. The men's tournament gets started tomorrow.
So, like I said, the Sun Belt Conference basketball tournament will begin tomorrow. And I don't know why you had to interject. I wasn't even thinking about the women. And I'll be quite frank, don't care about the Sun Belt women's tournament. There's only one women's team in the state we pay any attention to, and that's the USC women. If any other women's teams ever arise to the national level, we'll pay attention to them, even though I will say the Clemson women defeated Syracuse today to extend their season by another day in the ACC tournament. Not trying to be rude, not trying to be nasty, but we only have room for so much in the brain and on the show, and Sunbelt women's basketball isn't on the agenda.
I get that, but I would say Asia Blunt's 41-point performance is at least deserving of some recognition on the program tonight.
All right, congratulations to her. Happy for the Coastal women. If they make the tournament, we'll pay more attention to them. At least I will. You can pay attention to them. I mean, you're paid by them. You can pay attention to them all you want to. Not to be rude or anything. I guess that came across rude, didn't it? Didn't mean to be rude. But we've got other fish to fry here tonight on Sports Talk, like a little Spencer Rattler for you.
How about that?
Yeah, Spencer Rattler. 5 of the Gamecock transfers met with the media today for their first real serious question and answer session with the real media here in South Carolina. And we enjoyed it. Spencer Rattler came across as a very nice, mature young man, very confident in himself, excited about his opportunity at South Carolina, looking forward to competing for the Gamecocks job. Of course, everybody's handing him the job, and he's doing the right thing by saying he's got to compete. He's got to go out and play well this spring, and they'll let the chips fall where they will, and the best player will be the player to start at quarterback for the Gamecocks against Georgia State. So we're going to hear from him. We've got Clemson baseball coach Monty Lee coming up, bottom of the hour. Scott Powers from here in Columbia, overseeing all the sports activity in the city, is going to join us as well to talk about what's coming up this weekend with the USC Clemson baseball series, including the Fan Fest over at Segra Park. So we'll get a preview of that from him. Also tonight, we'll hear from USC basketball coach Frank Martin, who had some interesting things to say after last night's win over Missouri. The Gamecocks won at home to close out their regular season home schedule. And, they played well enough, Chris. It wasn't a great performance against a Missouri team that's not very good. But the Gamecocks played well enough, and they built a 14-point lead. They saw it get down to 1. But then Devin Carter made a heck of a play where it was a design play where he actually fed the post, saw somebody feed the post. The middle of the defense cleared out because of action in that play. He found the middle open, and Willens Levesque hit him with a nice pass as he cut into the lane. He made a difficult shot, got fouled, made the 3-point play, turned a 1-point lead into a 4-point lead, and the Gamecocks went on from there. But very good win for Frank Martin, who, Chris, told us that he was ready to quit coaching after last season. That's what he said in the press conference last night. He was ready to quit. He was sick. He didn't feel like he was being appreciated. His team had quit on him, and he was ready to hang it up. But he said this new group has come in and rejuvenated him.
You know, that comment about his team quitting on him last year, I think we all saw that, but you rarely hear a coach that will actually publicly admit that a team quit on him. I thought that was a stunning remark from him. And the other thing he pointed out last night, which I thought was really interesting, I don't know how many people paid attention to when he said this. He talked about some of his players on his team last night were not happy with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he liked the way the players challenged him back. And I thought that was as much of sort of insight into where the program is and how much he respects the response and how much he wants his players. If he's not bringing the energy, or as he likes to say, the enthusiasm, if he's not bringing that to the table, then he doesn't mind his players calling him out on it. I thought that was really, really an interesting insight into where the USC program is. And you're right, that was a win they had to have against not a very good Missouri team, and still they took care of the basketball last night. And that's as much a reason as to why they won last night as anything. They didn't turn it over nearly as much as they did against Alabama a couple of nights ago, and Missouri was unable to get as many points off turnovers as the Crimson Tide did in that blowout win, 3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah. And, now they're at 18 wins, 17 in Division I play, 18 overall. That's something Martin has got to stop doing. I mean, I got the gesture of why he played Allen back when they did, but now it's coming back to haunt them. They need a Division I win in place of that win over Allen, because they always, for the most part, cut it so close. The one year they went to the Final Four, they were definitely in most of February and early March. It looked like they were going to get in. Rest of the time, it's been right there on the cut line, and you need every Division I win you can get. So I understand why he did it in terms of humanitarian and just trying to be a nice guy for HBCU in town. But that's gonna if they come up a win short and also not playing South Carolina State, which would have been a Division I win opportunity if they had played them and defeated them. I mean, those are two W's on the Division I side that would be sorely appreciated right now if you're South Carolina as you head down the stretch. Now, look, they go play Auburn on Saturday, probably won't win, but you do play the game and you hope for an upset. You hope for a miracle. But it's senior day for Auburn. Place is going to be rocking. Going to be tough for them to win that ball game. They have to play the best game of their lives and play a near perfect game to beat Auburn at their place. So you can pretty much look at the Gamecocks going into the SEC tournament with 18 wins, and they probably have to get all the way to Sunday, playing for the championship. That would mean winning 3 times in Tampa before you get to the championship game, which will be very, very difficult for this team. They haven't showed that they're good enough to do that. Clemson tonight is at home playing Georgia Tech. Tigers have 2 home games to close out the regular season before they go to Brooklyn for the ACC tournament. And they'll still be without, I think they're going to be without P.J. Hall and Hunter Tyson. I haven't heard anything.
Sir. Actually, Clemson has released that Hunter Tyson, believe it or not, with that broken clavicle just got earlier this month, he is back tonight. They actually have a graphic up on their Twitter page. He's back. P.J. Hall will not play, but Hunter Tyson is back in the lineup. That'll be a huge boost to that Clemson team for sure.
All right, we're also going to hear from Dabo Swinney tonight. We got so much. We got to get right into it. Dabo Swinney met with the media this afternoon, and the big news coming from that is that center Mason Trotter is not going to play this season. So another blow to the Clemson offensive line. It looks like, from what I've read from media up there, that Will Putnam, who's been the starting right guard, will stand the greatest opportunity at moving over to center. And they'll be shuffling some people over there between center and right guard and left guard, trying to find the right combinations. Even Jordan McFadden has been working some, I think, in the offseason at the center spot. So that's another loss. They've lost Hunter Rayburn. They've lost now Mason Trotter. They had the normal departures because of eligibility and transfers out and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be and a new offensive line coach in Thomas Austin. So that's going to be a major work in progress this spring for Clemson. The spring practice for the Tigers getting underway today. And, of course, the quarterback play is going to be under a great spotlight. Is it going to be Uiagalelei? Is Klubnik going to come in and take the job? Are they even going to say coming out of spring who the guy is? So to keep everything sort of under wraps until they get into fall practice. Who's going to emerge as the number one guy at running back? Who's going to step up at wide receiver and fill the void of Justin Ross? And who's going to be the linebackers? The one place on this team that appears to be that is rock solid is their defensive front. All those guys are coming back, so they're lock solid on the defensive front. But pretty much everywhere else on the Clemson team, you've got several question marks to be answered this spring, and that's why you have spring practice. All right, we're going to hit the break here on Sports Talk and dive right into things. I want to get right to Spencer Rattler because it's the first time that many of you around the state will have a chance to hear him and hear what he has to say and hear what he sounds like. And like I said earlier, he came across as a very humble but confident, positive young man looking to come into Columbia and do some great things at quarterback. You know, he threw in 23 games at Oklahoma. He's passed for nearly 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. There's no doubting or questioning his talent. And South Carolina hopes he's got good enough talent around him so that his talent can shine on the field for them this coming season. Going to hear from Spencer Rattler coming up after the break here on Sports Talk.
Touchstone Energy cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com. Stay tuned. More Sports Talk is coming up on the Sports Talk Media Network.
I'm not like some whoop-de-doo executive chefs. You know, I consider myself more of a baker than a chef. I like working with my hands. I like turning regular ingredients into like something spectacular.
The South Carolina Education Lottery has funded over 450,000 life scholarships in our state, giving countless students a chance to answer their calling, just like Aaron. Your passion is our purpose.
We are back on Sports Talk Media Network. Very, very busy night here. A lot of great people to hear from. Oh, it's an SC Wild night as well, of course. That's heavy on our minds, too. We'll have Major Billy Downer with us at 7:30 tonight, so get ready for that as we talk about a lot of things happening in the great outdoors. The weather, of course, is fantastic. We'll see what he's got on his mind related to that. And we have the Palmetto Sportsman's Classic coming up the end of this month in Columbia, the State Fairgrounds. It is back after being gone for a couple of years. So he'll share all that with us tonight as well here on Sports Talk. And I mentioned Monty Lee, the Clemson baseball coach, will be with us here at the bottom of the hour to preview the showdown with the Gamecocks. Clemson a winner last night. They come in undefeated. They managed to beat Upstate in a good ball game up at Doug Kingsmore last night. In South Carolina, of course, rallied last night in a big way after being down early to Appalachian State. The Gamecocks came back and won that game. So both teams, Chris, should be in a great frame of mind going into this weekend coming off wins. I think most of the concern is going to be about South Carolina's starting pitching because it looks like they're going to be minus some people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're going to be fine to open up when Sanders takes the mound on Friday night. But after that, boy, it's going to be Charlie Holstaff, I think, for the Gamecocks. And that was one thing Mark Kingston has alluded to, the one nice luxury they have. They haven't burned their bullpen all that much here the past few ball games. But I will give Monty Lee a little bit of advice, and he's forgotten more baseball, Phil, than you and I will ever know. Don't pitch to Andrew Eister. I think if you look at South Carolina's offense, if you throw to that guy batting over 500 right now, and he's the reason they won last night. I mean, he sparked that 5-run fifth inning that got them right back in the ball game and tied it. Actually, his 100th career RBI in the fourth. I mean, he is swinging an incredibly hot bat. It'll be curious, though, to watch him and that South Carolina offense that has been scoring a good many runs this weekend against Clemson, and then next weekend, of course, when Texas comes into town, how they handle much, much better pitching than what they have seen thus far.
Oh, yeah. But, Clemson's swinging a very hot bat as well. You got Caden Grice been lighting it up, and you've got Briar Hawkins is off to a great start. So they've got some hot bats, too. So we'll break it down with Monty Lee tonight, and Mark Kingston will join us tomorrow night at 6:30 to do the same thing. All right, today USC made available 5 of the 6 transfers who are on campus. The one who did not participate was the running back from Wake Forest, Christian Beal Smith, who, according to Steve Fink, declined an invitation to participate in the interview session with the media. So the other 5 did participate, including Spencer Rattler, who was actually the last one to come in and talk to us, but I figured he'd be the one that most of you want to hear from tonight. So here's Spencer Rattler, some of the question and answers between the media and Rattler today over at USC. First time he's had a chance to step up in front of the media and take questions. Here you go.
You're no stranger to pressure and having a lot of hype coming around you. So what's this like as kind of a reset? I mean, do you feel the same that you did as you coming out of high school or after your first year at OU?
You know what? That's a good question. I feel totally just refreshed, to be at a new university, a great university like this. I feel a sense of, I'm very comfortable here, knowing Coach Beamer, getting to know all these guys. My first month up here, it's just I made a great decision. And, I mean, I'm happy I'm in this position. And like you said, pressure, I feel like the pressure is taken off a little bit, this year. But, my main focus right now is just starting up with my team here in about a week and a half after spring break and get going on spring ball.
Hi, Spencer. Mike Hugh of Gamecock Central. I know you're no stranger to being in the limelight, especially since a young age. And I think, unfortunately, some negative things can be said about people, and they, could be unfair. What would you say to some of those people, maybe going back to the high school documentaries and whatnot about your character, and how have you been able to kind of just push that to the side? And what would you tell those people as well?
Yeah, a lot of people seem to forget that it's a reality TV show. And at that time I was 16, 17 years old, having fun with my buddies in high school. We all were that was our authentic self in high school, just joking around, having fun, competing. And I think people around sports who play sports, they see that competition side come out of you, comes out of people in different ways. But my character is definitely not portrayed well in that show. And that's just, how it was made. I'm obviously, 5 years, 6 years, grown from that. And hopefully I've changed a little bit. I definitely have. So, I'm just a very competitive guy, very confident guy, and also a very caring person. So that's what I'd have to say just to those folks.
Hi, Spencer. Rick Henry, WIS-TV here in Columbia. How much did you know about South Carolina? Were you able to follow South Carolina maybe growing up or when you were in high school? And since you've been here, what aspect of the program has impressed you the most?
Growing up, I love to watch college football. To this day, it's my favorite thing to watch. I grew up, I saw, Jadeveon Clowney highlights. I saw, games with Marcus Lattimore, all those, Alshon Jeffrey, a lot of guys like that. But, really going through this recruiting process and the transfer portal and all that stuff, Coach Beamer was a big indicator that South Carolina is doing something right. And, he's turning this program around, doing a great thing up here. And, it also, like I said, I was very comfortable with making my decision. Also knowing that my tight end, Austin Stogner, will be coming with me. So it just felt like a home feeling. I got on a Zoom visit with the whole staff, and we had a great talk. They impressed me a lot. And like I said, I feel like I made the right choice. And the question was, what's impressive about this place? I just think how it's ran. It's ran like an NFL type of facility. I mean, it's a lot of people would be surprised it's different from where I'm coming from. It's more, I feel like it's more around the players to where, guys aren't burnt out. Guys are enjoying their time in the facility, enjoying their time around the coaches and players. And it's just a great feeling. It's a refreshing feeling.
Hey, Spencer, Michael Espy from ABC Columbia. Just wondering what you learned about yourself over the last couple of years at Oklahoma.
What I've learned about myself, I've learned that, I can accomplish a lot of great things with great guys around me. I had a great team at Oklahoma for my 3 years there. I learned a lot about my leadership skills. I feel like I improved in that area since I was a freshman, coming into Oklahoma. I learned I could go fight against a lot of adversity, that's thrown my way. And, God's given me the talent to do my thing on the field and help the team that I'm on, as much as I can. And I'm happy I landed my feet in Columbia, South Carolina, and I can't wait to get this ball rolling.
Spencer, you mentioned the staff was impressive to you on the Zoom visit. What really sold you about the system you're going to be dropped into, and how do you feel like your skill set really translates to it?
Great question. That was another big thing for me to come here. The system is definitely, levels up of a pro style type system. I'm learning a lot of new things every day, terminology, verbiage that I didn't know, coming in. So that's a big thing. Coach Satterfield, Coach Nick Coleman have done a great job with me so far. My first month here, I've learned probably more in a month than I have in my college career, which sounds crazy. But with these pro style type systems and the film we're watching, the plays we're running, I think it just elevates everybody's game, on the team mentally and obviously, physically on the field.
Hey, Spencer, Corey Diaz with the USA Today Network. And kind of as a follow-up to that, what did you see out of this system that Satterfield has here, just in terms of maybe some on the field during game aspects of it, and how do you feel like with you potentially at that quarterback spot as QB1, how can you lift those particular things with your skill set?
This system's from what I've seen this first month here, obviously I'm still soaking everything in, still learning a lot of stuff. The system's really good if you're in the pocket and can deliver the ball. That's what Coach Satterfield says. If we can get a controlled pass game going, it'll be hard to stop us. So that's what we're working on right now. Just getting that timing down with the receivers, running backs, tight ends, everybody. And not just me, but every other quarterback's doing the same. We're all competing hard every day. And I think, my skill set of being able to get out of the pocket and create for other guys on the field will definitely enhance this system, hopefully a little bit more.
As far as the guys that you'll be getting the ball to, receivers, tight ends, backs, what was it like getting to know those guys a little bit in the recruiting process, and obviously some of the other transfers coming in with you? What just your overall impressions of those individuals?
Yeah, these guys have been super impressive. A lot of athletic, tall, big type of bodies. We also got the smaller, quicker guys in that slot position. But all these guys have impressed me. We've been getting work in, a couple times a week, since I've got here, running routes, just talking ball, trying to learn from one another, tell them what I know, they tell me what they know, and it matches perfectly. But these guys are very impressive. I can't wait to put the pads on and get to work with them.
Spencer, when the news came out that you're coming here, I know a lot of the students, a lot of the fans in this area were really excited about it, a lot of excitement around this program. Just curious, now that you've been here for a little bit, what's kind of been the response like around Columbia? People have been, asking for autographs, trying to take pictures with you, that kind of thing. What does that feel like? And just how has the adjustment been to that?
Yeah, it's been a blessing, getting up here, getting in a whole new state, whole new city, a whole new part of the country. It's refreshing. I love the environment in Columbia. It's a diehard football, city. They love South Carolina football. They love the Gamecocks. And, that's the thing for me. I wanted to go somewhere that has that tradition and has that love for their team. And, I think I landed in the perfect spot, and the responses have been great so far in my first month up here.
What was it like for you, the emotional ride at Oklahoma, where you came in so highly touted and you waited your time, you won the job, you lose the job, the fans are up, fans are down? Can you kind of describe what that was like for you during your time in Norman?
You know what? It was crazy. It was a whirlwind. We come in, like you said, sat my first year behind Jalen Hurts, learned a lot behind him, how to act on and off the field. He was a great leader. He's doing his thing in the NFL now, so props to him. We still stay in contact. Won the job my second year, had a great year. Lost only 2 games, and then this past year, things went how they went. I couldn't control it. I felt like, as a player, I was doing fine enough. We were undefeated at the time and on a 13 or 14 game win streak. But I guess it wasn't enough.
All right, Spencer Rattler from earlier today over at USC, and we'll be back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Temperatures drop to 46 tonight, clear and cool skies with a slight breeze blowing in. Thursday, expect sizzling temps all the way up to 84 degrees. It's going to be nice and clear. Clouds start rolling in as the weekend starts, and temps drop slightly Friday to the mid-60s, but back up to the mid-80s Saturday and Sunday. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents.
And Doug.
Check it out, Limu, a roadside carnival.
Step right up, folks. Test your strength. Come see the fire-breathing baby.
Let's fan out and tell people that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Look, an emu wearing sunglasses.
Limu, famous. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting. Russian forces are besieging 2 strategic Ukrainian seaports Wednesday and pressing their bombardment of the country's second biggest city. But a huge armored column threatening Kiev appears stalled outside the capital. Moscow's isolation is deepening meanwhile. Most of the world lined up against Russia at the United Nations on Wednesday to demand it withdraw from Ukraine. A second round of talks aimed at ending the fighting is expected Thursday between Ukraine and Russia. Wall Street liked what it heard from the Federal Reserve today. The Dow Industrials up by 596 points to close at 33,891. The Nasdaq rose 219. The S&P 500 advancing 80. Oil up $7.19 to $110.60 a barrel. More details at srnnews.com.
Oh, good, you're home. I need your help.
Doing what?
Replacing our old light bulbs with these new energy-efficient LEDs.
Where did you get these?
Dominion Energy. I ordered direct from their online store. LEDs for every room, all at huge discounts.
Oh, really?
Yes, really. And my 15-bulb order got us free shipping.
Sounds too good to be true.
See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Hi, this is Marcia Kleiman.
And I'm Karen Pickard. We're your hosts for The Positive Point on Aging.
We'll talk about aging gracefully and senior care every Tuesday morning from 8:30 to 9 o'clock a.m.
Join us right here on The Point for The Positive Point on Aging.
Brought to you by Oakley Village of Lexington.
Fran Halloran here. Now listen closely to what I'm about to say. I'm a business owner, and many of you listening right now, you're business owners as well. The first rule in owning a business is this: don't waste money. I see business owners waste their marketing dollars all the time. Not me. I figured out a long time ago, 8 years ago to be exact, that spending my marketing dollars at The Point was not only intentional, but extremely profitable as well. If you're a small business owner, you owe it to yourself to sit down with Kevin Cohen and ask him to create a custom marketing plan for your business. He's looking for folks just like you who believe in local, to partner with him in 2022 and beyond. Trust me when I tell you, partnering with The Point works. You will see results and your marketing budget will no longer be wasted. Give Kev a call at 803-563-8558 and tell him the Money Coach sent you.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Hey, it's Jay with the Melting Pot. So this is the time of year when we try to be responsible and plan out the next 12 months.
I'm not good at it either, so let's work on this together.
Go and grab your calendar, whether it's on your phone or on your refrigerator. Find your anniversary, your best friend's birthday, your kid's birthday, your spouse's birthday, graduation day, and write in Melting Pot. We're the premier special occasion restaurant in the Midlands, the Melting Pot.
Someone will be right with you.
On Sports Talk Media Network. Bill Kornblue, Chris Bergen, Pat Daniel here on a very busy Wednesday night. We continue with Clemson baseball coach Monty Lee joining us now as we get ready for the big series, the base brawl for it all, as we like to call it here on Sports Talk. Annual showdown between South Carolina and Clemson once again coming up this weekend, beginning at USC on Friday night at Founders Park, going over to downtown Columbia in the Bull Street District, over at Segra Park Saturday, and then up at Doug Kingsmore Stadium on Sunday afternoon to wrap it up. And we have Coach Lee on the phone with us now, fresh out of the grocery store. It's Cooking with Monty once again here on Sports Talk. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I am doing great, Phil. How are you?
Man, we're fantastic. What are you cooking up tonight over in the Lee household?
I am cooking burrito bowls tonight, Phil. So got a little grass-fed beef. We'll mix that up with some garlic and some tomatoes and some jalapenos, spicing it up with a Mexican seasoning with some rice. And, probably have some flour tortillas on the side in case that you want to add that to the repertoire for dinner. It's going to be a burrito bowl night at the Lee House.
That sounds great. Outstanding. I'm sure the food tastes a lot better when you're 8-0.
It certainly does, and you eat a lot more of it.
Yeah,
that's for sure. You don't eat quite as much when you're not winning ball games. That's for sure.
Well, that was a good win for you yesterday over a very good upstate team. And all season long, you guys have been swinging the good bats. Looks like you've been getting some very good pitching. How would you summarize the first 8 games, first couple of weeks of the season for you?
Well, it's been great. It really has. And the great part about it is in 8 games, we've won in a number of different ways. We've had, what I would call 3 really tough games that could have went either way. We had the extra inning walk-off win against Indiana opening weekend on Sunday. We had a 2-1 game last Tuesday with the College of Charleston, which could have went either way. And then last night, USC Upstate, we came out to a commanding 5-run lead. We were up 5-0, then it was 5-2, then 5-3, and then they tied the game in the 8th to make it 5-5, and we responded with a big home run from Jonathan French and then a two-run homer from Latta alumni Dylan Brewer.
Yes.
And wound up winning the game 8-5 against a great club, USC Upstate. Mike McGuire, their coach, he does a phenomenal job. He's one of the best coaches in this area. I'll be honest with you. Their team they're so dang tough and competitive, and we were fortunate to find a way to win the game last night. So all in all, our pitching's been pretty dang good. Offensively, we've been swinging the bats well. Our defense has been pretty solid, and so far we haven't beat ourselves. I think that's the thing I'm most proud of our guys is, we've played pretty solid baseball. We're like any club. We need to get better in many, many areas, and we've made some mistakes. But all in all, so far in the early going, we haven't beat ourselves, and we're going to need to play pretty clean baseball this weekend against the Gamecocks. They've got a great club, and they're off to a great start as well.
Now, you talk about not beating yourself. I mean, errors an issue last year. So far this year, you've played a lot of clean baseball. The team ERA has been very good to this point. You look really solid in your starting rotation. Is this maybe a little bit more than you expected, or, coming off the kind of season you had last year, you talked about getting it fixed and getting it right. You feel like you and your coaches have pushed the right buttons and got the right people in the right places?
Well, I feel like the things that we emphasized from the very beginning, our guys bought into it and are doing it. And I think that's the main thing. I don't know, I can't answer, are we fixed, right? I mean, we're only 8 games into the season. So, we've got a long, long, long ways to go. But I feel like the things that we have asked our guys to do from the very beginning of the fall, our messages have been fairly consistent. And the guys have really responded well to it and are doing the things that we are asking them to do. So I would say this group has been incredibly coachable, very selfless, very team oriented. Leadership's been good. All in all, things have been great. I don't know if I could say I thought we would be at this spot in the season. I didn't really have those types of expectations. My expectations were more that these are the areas of the game we've got to improve on, and my expectations are you're going to play the style of baseball that we want you to play, and our guys have bought into that and have done that.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson head baseball coach Monty Lee with us here tonight on Sports Talk. Looking forward to the big series here this weekend with the Gamecocks. And, Coach, during the preseason, I think we all got the impression that Caden Grice was actually going to be first base outfield for you. And obviously, with the bat that he brings to your offense, was going to be a key cog from that role. But you've actually gotten him back out on the mound. At least he does have one win for you thus far this season. Where was the idea to maybe allow him to pitch a little bit this year, and how much more do you anticipate utilizing him in that role throughout the season?
Well, I think we'll pitch him when we need to pitch him. I think it's one of those things where, Caden and I have talked about it. He came back to me and said, hey, if you need me to pitch, I'll pitch. So we started to get him ready for that. We threw him in a couple bullpens, had him face hitters right before the season started. We were able to get him, I believe we've gotten him one outing so far. And I think he'll pitch for us. He's very comfortable coming in, whether he's playing first base or right field. He's very comfortable coming in out of the pen and in pitching in that role. And I could see us using him, a solid amount throughout the whole season. And he has done very, very well in right field and at first base. So he's very comfortable in both of those spots. And we feel like we've got a good game plan when it comes to using him. But, it's typically going to be at the end of the game so he can play his position for the full game. Right up to this point, we haven't had to use him a lot just because we've had guys like, Gilbert and Edmondson and Dill and Ammons pitching at the end of the game. But I could see us using Grice out of the pen some this year. Yeah, and, obviously he's swinging the bat well. I think he's hit 3 homers already. He's off to a good start, so he's doing all the things that we expect him to do on the offensive side as well.
He's tied for the club lead in that category with 3 home runs, and Coach batting .367. He's also a third on your team in RBI, so obviously he's hitting the ball extremely well. I would imagine he's going to be a major concern for Mark Kingston and his staff. But when you look at USC's lineup, and especially the job that Andrew Eister has done for them thus far, I was joking with Phil a bit earlier in the program, maybe the best way to beat him is not to pitch to him. Can you neutralize a hitter like a Caden Grice if you're South Carolina, or an Andrew Eister for your team? Can you neutralize those guys to try and win the series?
I think yes, you can, but it's very difficult. And I think that, a lot of that is dictated by the score at the time. And also, are there runners on base, right? How many outs are there? If he's leading off an inning and there's nobody on base, I mean, are you just going to pitch around and then and just put him on? You're setting yourself up to give up runs. So I think you just have to pick the right times to not pitch to him. You certainly are going to be careful with a guy like Eister. Look, he's a really good hitter. He's a veteran hitter. He's a guy that if you have the opportunity to pitch around him, you will. But you also have to understand that they've got good hitters hitting behind him. So if you're not going to pitch to him, you better make dang sure that you execute pitches to the guy on deck, because he's a pretty dang good hitter too. So And that's kind of why we have a guy like Cooper Ingle hitting behind Grice, because if you don't want to pitch to Grice, you got to pitch to the guy that's arguably our best hitter in Cooper Ingle, who's hitting, really well. So, it's more about the score and also, where if you have runners on base and those types of things as far as kind of how you make those decisions.
Team batting average of 329 through 8 games. And what also catches your eye, 66 walks and 13 hit by pitch. So 79 free passes right there. Are your hitters a little more patient at the plate so far this season than maybe they were last year?
I think it's more, again, like I said just a minute ago, I think it's a byproduct of just more buy-in. I think our guys are just doing a better job of understanding that, last year I felt like we came out of the strike zone way too much and we swung out of the zone and didn't have great approaches at the plate. And we've always taken a lot of pride in our approaches at the plate. And we know that, hey, look, I mean, there's guys that swing and miss and strike out. Some are going to swing and miss and strike out some, right? I mean, Joey Gallo's not all of a sudden, going to play this year and strike out 80 times. He's going to strike out 150 plus times this year. I mean, that's the kind of hitter he is. And it's the same thing in college baseball. If you got guys that swing and miss and strike out some, they're going to strike out some. But the main thing is what are you swinging at? And understanding the count, understanding what the pitcher's doing to you, and what you're looking for based on the count. And I think our guys have done a better job of buying into our approaches at the plate. And the byproduct of that is we're walking some. Our strikeout numbers are still fairly high, but as you guys know, look, if you're going to walk some, you're going to strike out some because you're getting deep into counts. So all in all, we've done a good job of utilizing the free 90, via the walk and the hit by pitch. And it certainly helped us put runners on base and score runs.
All right, a couple more minutes with Monty Lee. What's your view of the South Carolina team? They're swinging a good bat as well. They got a little bit of an issue going on with some starting pitching, so they probably, I don't know if they'll announce 3 starters for the weekend. Maybe have to go kind of game by game after Friday night. You know who you're going to see Friday night. But what's your take on this South Carolina team?
Well, they're a really good club, and I think they're, from what I can tell, they're a little more athletic. Maybe and more gap-to-gap oriented. They certainly still have some power bats in there, but it seems like they have some more athletic, dynamic type players. You look at guys like Braswell and Wimmer, and obviously Eister's a really good athlete and a good hitter, and they've had some turnover and some new guys in there, but all in all, they're probably a little more athletic, probably more quality at bat oriented, gap-to-gap type lineup. But still has some power. And they seem to be very, very competitive. Just kind of looking at some of the games that they've had some back and forth games and some come from behind wins. And, they've had to really compete and have come out on the right end of that, several times where the games have been fairly close. So they're battle tested as well. And they're obviously very, very confident going into this weekend. Having won some of the games that they've won in the fashion that they have. I knew they'd come from behind against UNCG on a Sunday. It was a back and forth game, I believe, with App State the other day, and they found a way to win that one. So they're a very confident club. They seem to be a very gritty club, and it's going to be a heck of a test for our guys this weekend. But we're excited about the opportunity to play in the rivalry and see what happens.
Yeah, I think everybody's excited about it. I think people see a couple of teams right now that have a chance to emerge perhaps as nationally elite teams once again. We'll see how the season plays out. A lot of games out there for you to play before that can be determined. But at least here early on, the first couple of weeks, a lot of good things to point to both ways. Coach, we'll let you get to your cooking. Thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. We'll see you Friday night in Columbia, and then Saturday in Columbia, and then Sunday up there at Clemson. Always look forward to this weekend. I think it's one of the great sports weekends of the year in South Carolina, and hope you guys have a terrific series with the Gamecocks and for them as well. And it goes right to the end for all the games. We have a lot of excitement.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on as always, and look forward to seeing you guys on Friday.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks,
we appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, Monty Lee, coach of the Clemson Tigers, bringing an undefeated 8-0 team to Columbia on Friday night to face the Gamecocks and Will Sanders. That should be a heck of a pitching matchup there. Sanders very, very good, but Clemson swinging a really good bat. And as we talked about, being selective at the plate, a lot of walks, a lot of free passes on hit by pitches, things like that, hitting for some power as well. So they've got the complete thing going offensively, and their pitching has been very, very good as well. They're pretty much set with their weekend rotation to this point. Scott Powers coming up after the break to talk more about the big series here in Columbia. Be right back. We're with Major Billy Downer of DNR Major. It's always a good time for folks to remember to get those licenses renewed.
Doesn't matter what time of the year, it's always a season in, whether it's fishing or hunting. Make sure to check your licenses, make sure they're up to date. If you need a hunting or fishing license, you may go to www.dnr.sc.gov to purchase your license online or to any local licensed vendor in your local area.
And don't forget to join us for SC Wild from DNR with Major Billy Downer on Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Sports fans, are you in it to win it? Join South Carolina's fight against COVID-19 by getting your vaccine today. Vaccines are safe and will help stabilize school operations by bringing us back together safely. The CDC recommends everyone 5 years and older get vaccinated. Visit scdhec.gov/VaxLocator or call 866-365-8110 to find a vaccination station near you.
Hey, this is Major Billy Downer with DNR, and coming up tonight at 7:30, another edition of SC Wild on the Sports Talk Radio Network.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Go, 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 shorty. It's your birthday. We gon' party like it's your birthday. We gon' sip the party like it's
Busy Wednesday night here on Sports Talk. I want to remind you, if you're thinking about a place to go to get away from it all later on this spring or this summer, you're thinking about that vacation, get away with the family, get away with friends, want to be down by the beach, playing some golf, sitting on the Grand Strand, make sure you give Jimmy Smith at James Smith Realty a phone call. That phone number, 843-237-4246, or visit Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. Of course, you know how beautiful an area Paulie's is, and Surfside and Garden City and Litchfield and all those areas in there. Jimmy and his staff do a fantastic job of finding whatever it is you need, the right fit for you when it comes to that perfect beach vacation. Check it out online at Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. Keep in mind, you're getting to that time of the year where rentals are going to be hard to come by because they are filling up fast. Or if you're interested in buying some property along the Grand Strand, Jimmy is the guy to call as well, 843-237-4246, or Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. That's James Smith Realty. All right, for more on the big baseball weekend in Columbia, Friday and Saturday, we welcome in Scott Powers from ColumbiaSCSports.com. Welcome in, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, Phil. How are you doing, sir?
Man, we're just smoking tonight. Got so much stuff going on between football and baseball, and looking forward to this weekend of the big series between the Gamecocks and the Tigers. We call it the base brawl for it all here in South Carolina. And you guys are going to have a big day on Saturday. Of course, it'll begin on Friday night at Founders, but then City of Columbia and the Fireflies and Segra Park, they take over on Saturday. You guys got a bunch of big stuff planned for the showdown on Saturday afternoon.
We sure do, Phil. And I know you were there 2 years ago, and I think it was a pretty good show with a good crowd. Almost 9,000 people came. And that was, I think the weather was 55 and breezy. So with the weather being in the 80s this Saturday, I think we're going to really have a wonderful time. We've got Fan Fest starts at noon, so a lot of people in Columbia like to do things on Saturday morning, either get up and do some work around the house or go to Soda City or lots of different things to do. They can come on over to Segra Park around noon. We've got food trucks. We've got beverages for sale. We've got Tokyo Joe playing live. starting at 12:30. So we're excited about that. Gates open at 2, and then people are free to walk inside the stadium if you have a ticket, and then you can come back out, enjoy Fan Fest if you want to, and go back and forth. That's really unusual for stadiums these days to let somebody in and then let them back out. But since we have the plaza blocked off for the Fan Fest, people can do that. And then game starts at 4. For anybody who would love to stay and watch the game, we're having a big screen outside, which is new this year. For as long as people want to stick around and enjoy food and beverages, we're going to have the game playing live outside on the big screen.
Wow.
So people don't have to have a ticket, even though there are still tickets for sale.
That is fantastic. And there are some tickets still for sale for the game on Saturday, you're saying?
Yes. There are singles here and there in the seats, but then there are a couple of hundred probably of concourse tickets that are available for sale.
Standing room type tickets?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you'll have another huge crowd. And I tell you what, folks who hadn't been over there since the last time, I think they're going to be shocked by what they've seen development-wise or what they will see development-wise over in that Bull Street district.
It's a completely different place, and it's changing every day. I was out there the other day, and, last time there was, they were building REI Co-op, but it wasn't open yet. The Starbucks wasn't open. They've got one parking garage that's 99.5% complete, and another one that's probably 95% complete. They've got 3 additional buildings that are going up. So they've done a good job. I think people had been worried in the past how it would all come together, but you can't even see the baseball stadium from Bull Street anymore. You have to actually drive in there like a neighborhood to even find it.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Powers with us for a few more moments here on Sports Talk. Looking forward to the weekend between the Tigers and Gamecocks. And, Scott, it would be, I think, really easy for both USC and Clemson to say, you know what, we'd rather, because of the magnitude of this series, we would rather it be all home games one year in Columbia and then all home games in Clemson the following year. How big a deal, though, is it that the two schools have worked it out where you guys had the opportunity to host one of the games for the city of Columbia, and the next year goes up and Greenville gets that same opportunity? In terms of sports tourism, just what does this single game mean for both of those cities?
Yeah, it's definitely unique. And I think some people were concerned just because it was in Columbia that it would, skew more toward Gamecock fans. But, we divided the stadium down the middle, and Clemson fans were able to go through IPTAY, and Carolina fans were able to go through the Gamecock Club for, their season ticket holders that wanted to buy tickets. And then, the last several weeks, the rest of the tickets were offered up for sale, but we should have a pretty close to 50-50. And, college baseball always, in my lifetime, has been strong in South Carolina. Since Coach Wilhelm up at Clemson, I think everybody remembers Clemson and what they've done in years past in South Carolina, and I think they wanted to get back to that. But for places that are, the LSUs or the Texas, I think this is a unique opportunity and unique situation. What the schools wanted to do was they wanted to make sure that they were growing college baseball around the state of South Carolina. And that's why they wanted to do the series this way. That's why they wanted to take bids from any of the cities around the state of South Carolina that wanted to bid on. And we were happy the last 4 years to partner with Greenville back and forth. Folks up at Ford Field, the Drive, do a fantastic job up there. And we've been glad for, this is the second time now to do it. And this is the last year of the contract. So it'll be interesting to see moving forward if this is something they want to continue to do or if they change it up. But I think it is good to be able to move it around the state of South Carolina, and I think it's good for college baseball.
No, I agree with you, and I hope they continue to do this. And I mean, look, other cities want to jump back in there, Myrtle Beach, places that have the minor league parks, maybe even up in Charlotte or over in North Augusta, whatever the case may be. I think it's great to take this baseball caravan around the state and let folks have a chance to jump in there and enjoy it. Scott, we'll see you out there Saturday. It's going to be a blast. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, we'll see you out noon Saturday.
Thank you so much, Scott
Thanks, Scott.
Powers from ColumbiaSCSports.com. Coastal's playing baseball, by the way, this afternoon.
Yes, they are. Last I saw, trailing UNC Wilmington on the road 5-4.
Okay, we'll be back with more top of the hour.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. The United States is very open to imposing sanctions on Russia's oil and gas industry. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
With U.S. crude prices hitting a near 11-year high and supply disruptions mounting, the White House says it's still considering hitting Moscow's energy sector over Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Press Secretary Jen Psaki says administration officials are weighing the potential market impact. The White House knows Americans are frustrated about soaring prices and feeling the economic pinch at the gas pump. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Russian forces are besieging two strategic Ukrainian seaports Wednesday and pressing their bombardment of the country's second biggest city. But a huge armored column threatening Kiev appears stalled outside the capital. Moscow's isolation is deepening meanwhile. Indiana Congresswoman Victoria Sparks, a Ukrainian native, says Vladimir Putin knows her people will not bow to him.
All of these people say, you know what? We don't cry anymore. We don't cry. Just give us some guns and we'll fight. And we're going to win. And we understand that. So he's destroying more cities.
Senate Republicans have voted to strike down President Biden's vaccine mandate targeting healthcare workers. Bob Agnew reports.
Republicans were able to force a vote on the mandate under the Congressional Review Act. They achieved a 49-44 victory with 6 Democrats absent. The vote was a mostly symbolic rebuke of the president, but now it faces an uphill battle. It would need to be passed in the Democrat-controlled House and then signed by the president himself. Bob Agnew reporting.
On Wall Street, the Dow by 596 points to 33,891. The Nasdaq rose 219. The S&P advanced 80. Oil up 7.19 to $110.60 a barrel. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful in lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question. Peter Seth Talbot, the father and son founders of Relief Factor, tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor selected the 4 best ingredients, 100% drug-free ingredients that each help your body deal with inflammation. Order the 3-week quick start now. Discount it to only $19.95 to see if it will work for you too. Call 800-500-8384. ReliefFactor.com.
You could now lose your job for refusing to call a biological male sheep. And confused children are being pumped full of drugs to block puberty. How have we gotten to this point? The compelling new documentary, The Tragedy of Gender Confusion, has now been banned from online streaming. See the program the corporate media wants to hide from you. Get the DVD at SalemNowStore.com.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's trip to Israel last month had one hiccup we're just finding out about now. Details from correspondent Bernie Bennett.
A Capitol Police officer was detained in Israel last month after allegedly partaking in an altercation while intoxicated ahead of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's trip to the Middle East. A statement said that the agent was accused of having a physical altercation on February 14th while under the influence of alcohol. The agent, who is not named in the statement, has been with the U.S. Capitol Police since April of 2018 and has, quote, worked 3-member details. Capitol Police added that it was not releasing the name of the agent because they were not charged with a crime, and this is a disciplined personnel matter. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
Amazon's closing all of its brick-and-mortar bookstores as well as its 4-star shops and pop-up locations. The closures come as the online behemoth reworks its physical footprint. The move affects 66 stores in the U.S. and 2 in the U.K. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Temperatures drop to 46 tonight, clear and cool skies with a slight breeze blowing in. Thursday, expect sizzling temps all the way up to 84 degrees. It's going to be nice and clear. Clouds start rolling in as the weekend starts, and temps drop slightly Friday to the mid-60s, but back up to the mid-80s Saturday and Sunday. I'm Brian Leonard with your on-point local weather. WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
Please press button now. No, number 1.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we are back on Sports Talk Media Network. Very busy, active Wednesday night. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen down in Pensacola, where the Big South tournament for the men begins tomorrow. Women did start today, and the Clemson women won today at the ACC tournament. The USC women will play on Friday. We have been focused on South Carolina Clemson baseball here for the last little bit. Let's turn our attention to Gamecock basketball. They won last night in a tough one over Missouri at home to close out the regular season. Senior night for them. 6 seniors were honored, though not all of them could be leaving. Some could be coming back. 2 are only definitely gone because of eligibility. The other 4 could come back if they're wanted and if they want to come back. But after the game, Frank Martin had some really interesting things to say about his team's precarious tournament situation and some other things. Here's a segment of what Martin had to say, question and answers with the media.
That's the thing that gets me with metrics, offensive efficiency being a part of metrics, the net and all that stuff. This isn't diving. This isn't gymnastics. Because somebody does a triple somersault, they shouldn't count more than a guy that does 2 somersaults. It's basketball. You either schedule good teams or you schedule bad teams. You either win or you lose. And style should not be a part of rankings and all that. I think that's the biggest joke I've ever heard of, but it is what it is. It's an SEC game. It's a rock fight, and we figured out a way to win. That's number 18, and it gives us 9 league games. So, I think I'm wrong with what I'm going to say, but when we go into Auburn, we got a chance to win 10. That would be the 5th time we win 10 games since I've been here. The school had won double-digit league games 6 in its history. 6 times. So, I'm really proud of these guys after what we went through last year to come back out this year and accomplish some of the things that we've accomplished up to this point.
Frank, I know you guys still have one more regular season game to go, but especially with senior night and then, just the fact that you guys had so many new faces this year and obviously some of those guys being seniors. I'm sure there's special groups, whether it be, during your time at USC or going back to Kansas State. Where is this group in particular, not just the seniors, but all the new faces that came in to be able to get you guys to this position where, going into the year, some people projected you guys to finish 12th?
Mike, I've said this. I didn't say it last year because then everybody would have used it against me in recruiting. And so I didn't say a word until this year. I came real close to saying I'm done. Like, not USC, coaching. My health was bad. I didn't like the way I was treated. It is what it is. I'm a big boy. I don't want anyone crying for me, but I came real close. I had a team quit on me. That never happened to me before. I didn't know how to handle all that. And all these kids came in here, man, and they gave me life this summer. They gave me enthusiasm when I started recruiting them. When they said, "Are you kidding me, man? You're Frank Martin. I'd love to play for you." I'm like, "Ooh." And I got excited recruiting them. And then when they showed up on campus, it's been, it's been an incredible journey with these guys up to this point. I'm not in a place to get into the I don't know what the word is, the emotion of what these guys mean to me right now, because we're still in this fight. And, we got a great opportunity on Saturday against one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the country on their senior day, which we've become the senior team for everybody, for the state of Alabama. How about that? We're going to go in and play Troy and everyone else and have their senior day against us too. It's Phil. You want to come with me on that one? But special group of guys, man. It's they have a competitive spirit about them. That's fun to be around, and they got an edge about them now. I wasn't happy with some of those guys today, and they let me know they weren't happy with me either, and I'm at peace with that. I'm got no problem with that. Just play for your team and go win. And we got guys that really enjoy doing that.
How do you keep guys focused on, hey, don't worry about how many wins we need at the metrics, and just kind of keep them focused on the day?
All right, so let me ask you this. I tell them the truth. I don't hide stuff. Like back in the day, you didn't tell anybody anything because I had no way of figuring anything out. Now they get more information than I get because I don't read the garbage on the internet. So let me ask you this. If we can figure out a way to beat Auburn, get the 19 wins, get 10 league wins in the number one league in the country, finish, what would it be, 6, I think? If we beat Auburn, we're the 6th seed. We're the 6th seed. How's that team not good enough to be in the NCAA tournament? Why? Because the net says that we're 78? Like, really? Like, I thought it was about winning and losing. I thought it was about, by the way, our strength of schedule, you guys can't use the garbage that our own media used in 2016 saying we played a bad league schedule. Our strength of schedule will be top 25 in the country after Auburn. So how's that team not getting the tournament if we can figure out a way to beat Auburn? That means we'd have 7 wins away from home. 7. Tell me another team in the country has won 7 away from home, 5 in league play. I can give you all kinds of real numbers, not the BS numbers that they lazy people use a computer to investigate. But I'm not putting my energy into all that because we put ourselves in this pickle that we're in coming down to the end. And in 2016, I learned not to lose sleep over what is right and what is wrong. 2016, this team should have been in the NCAA tournament, finished 3rd in this league, won 11 league games. They took a team that we beat head-to-head, finished below us in league standings, and had a worse RPI or whatever they used to use back then than us. That's who they took. And so when you ask me those questions, I talk to the team about what's in front of us, what the challenges are. I don't really get into the whole net and this and that because it's about winning. Go win the next game, period. And at the end of the day, you win enough. The people make these decisions. I would hope respect the team that wins 19 games. I'm making an assumption that we can win at Auburn. That wins 19 games, 10 league games in the hardest league in the country. That's won on the road, scheduled hard, scheduled away from home. I didn't play 100 bye games at home. We played like on the road. And then you take into consideration COVID. Our team got hit by COVID again. I don't know why there's a game we didn't get to play because of COVID. We went into Clemson and played with 4 chairs and me. We could have canceled the game. I could have said no, but we went and played it because it's the right thing to do, and we didn't win. But our team got slapped with COVID again, and when we prepared to play Auburn, which at the time I think was number 1 in the country, we only had 2 days of practice with a complete team. It's hard, man. It's hard, but it is what it is. It's at the end of the day, I'm gonna quote my Nostradamus, Bob Huggins. If you win enough, you get in. If you don't, you won't. It's not complicated. So we got to go play, and let the people make the decisions they got to make.
That's called in the media business great copy. That's great copy. I mean, that is the kind of stuff in the media. I just sit back and keep my mouth shut and just to myself smile because that's gold.
He is gold. There's no question. And
that
I
is
don't know how many
golden comments.
coaches, Phil, I don't know how many college coaches around our state listen to Sports Talk. I can guarantee you Frank Martin does, especially with regards to him inviting you to go to Troy. He must have listened to you when Coastal was out there and you were talking about the lovely haven of Troy, Alabama. So, see, he pays attention. And he wants to take you back to Troy.
Yeah,
I thought that was terrific.
I think I've become Frank's media pet.
There's no doubt.
Every coach likes to have his little media pet that he can, throw things at and et cetera, et cetera. But we have good exchanges. Interesting stuff. My jaw hit the floor when he said, I almost quit after last season. And my jaw went into the floor deeper when he said, my team quit on me.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it he said about some people? Some people didn't have his back, or he had some issues with some people.
Said the way he was treated.
The way he was treated, that goes back to the contract thing and all that. I mean, that's not just honesty; that's brutal honesty. And you can't ask for anything more from a coach than brutal honesty. At least from where he sit. Is it all true what he's saying? I mean, you'd have to do some investigating and talk to other people. But as far as him putting it out there and putting his name on it, this isn't hiding behind some unidentified source. This is Frank Martin coming out and putting his name on it. You can't ask for more.
Well, and whether or not it was reality, perception is reality, Phil. And in his mind, he was mistreated last year. He had his basketball team quit on him, which, as I mentioned earlier in the program, I've never heard a head coach in all the years of doing what we do. I've never heard a head coach come out and basically throw a team under the bus because they quit on him, the way Frank Martin talked about last year's squad. But one thing, and I think if you ask anybody who has played for Frank Martin, whether it be at South Carolina or at Kansas State, that's the one thing they all talk about is his honesty. You know exactly what you're getting from Frank Martin from the first moment you stepped on campus until you graduated and left school. And I think that's why his kids play hard for him. They're not always successful, but to a man, most players who have been coached by Frank Martin would run through a brick wall for him because of what you just pointed out. He's brutally honest, and that's not an act. That's not what he does in the media. That evidently is who he is when he coaches his basketball team as well.
Yeah, and his players, those that hang with him, even those that leave, still speak up for him. They still stand up for him. I mean, those that left for whatever reasons they decided to leave for, but they still, if you talk to them, they still have positive things to say about it. All right, we're going to hit a break. Got a few recruiting notes. Clemson and Georgia Tech, 16-14, 11:02 to play in the opening half. Collins has 9 of the Tigers' 16. Back in a moment.
Show your team pride wherever you go with Founders Federal Credit Union's collegiate debit cards. Get your University of South Carolina and Clemson University debit cards at any Founders office or by calling 1-800-845-1614. Plus, our debit cards are digital wallet ready, so you can pay however you please. Not a member? Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our 37 convenient locations to see if you qualify for membership. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer with DNR, and coming up tonight at 7:30, another edition of SC Wild on the Sports Talk Radio Network.
Life, it has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
By the way, we'd hope to have some Dabo Sweeney for you tonight. Not apparently, nothing has been put up from his press conference prior to the start of today's practice. Maybe they're going to wait till after everything is done. They're going to be talking to some players after the day's practice. So nothing yet. As soon as it becomes available to us, we'll put it up on our website, sportstalksc.com. So recruiting brought to you by C. Wells, and we have Wednesdays behind us now, Thursday, Friday ahead of us. I know we've got a roast beef Friday coming up this Friday for the daily luncheon buffet, 11 to 2 over at C. Wells. Highly recommended from those of us who really consider ourselves connoisseurs of high cuisine. Okay, and that's what C. Wells is. It's high cuisine. There's low cuisine, which is what you get if you eat something that Pat cooks. There's medium cuisine. If I throw it together, yeah, No, I'm gonna put Monty in the high cuisine. Monty sounds too professional with his selections of what he buys and what he's cooking. I mean, he was right down to the last detail on that Mexican feast he's cooking tonight. No, but Seawells, that's a different level cuisine. That's high cuisine. You could enjoy it on a daily basis. It's only $12 for their daily luncheon buffet, and they do it so well. It's safe, clean, a lot of space in there to eat. And you want a lot to drink, they give you a lot to drink. You want a lot of dessert, you want the banana pudding, they give you the banana pudding. What's on the menu for tomorrow, Pat? Have you checked that out?
The meatloaf.
The meatloaf.
We have bacon wrapped meatloaf. I will definitely be there tomorrow, along with southern fried chicken and pulled pork, and then of course all the fixins, salad, and dessert.
As somebody once said on this show, everything tastes good with bacon wrapped around it. Maybe that was you, Pat.
Yeah, probably. Quick story with that. Last summer, went to the beach with a friend and her family, and they have an affinity for bacon. We had bacon with every meal. I've never experienced my feet swelled up. I could literally not fit them into shoes. Apparently, you can eat too much bacon. So take that for what you will.
I disagree. There's no such thing as too much bacon.
No such thing as too much bacon. I hear you.
I regret nothing.
All right, let me give you these quick recruiting notes. Been busy today, so we haven't had a chance to throw a lot together. Just a few notes here. USC target wide receiver Malik Benson was offered by Alabama and by Florida. USC target offensive tackle Wilkin Formby was offered by Florida. Dutch Fork running back Jarvis Green was offered by East Tennessee State. Oceanside Collegiate offensive tackle Monroe Freeling was offered by Florida. In 2025 defensive end Malik Autry, 6'5", 260 of Opelika, Alabama. He plans to visit Clemson on March the 12th. There you go, a little taste of recruiting for you tonight. All right, let me see here. We may have to do some production work over the air. I just got a text from our man at Clemson, David Hood, with TigerNet, and he was telling me that they've got some Dabo Swinney up, but I haven't been able to find it. Give me another second here, Pat. Be on the standby. I might have to direct you in that direction.
And, Corn, while you're looking for that, some good news for Tiger fans out there. Hunter Tyson just entered the game for the first time since returning from that broken collarbone. He's now in the game for the Tigers against Georgia Tech.
Okay. So I'm seeing some video here from a few minutes ago of Jordan McFadden. I'm not seeing any Dabo Swinney up there yet. So I guess we'll just play that by ear, and we'll wait and see if we can find it at some other point. Here's a little bit of what David wrote from Swinney's presser earlier today. This went up about 6 o'clock. We talked about Mason Trotter, his situation being that he is out for who knows how long, maybe for the season, maybe longer. Several players will be out over the next month and even into May, according to Swinney. Will Shipley, Kobe Pace, E.J. Williams, Brian Bresee, Davis Allen, Malcolm Green, Tyler Venables, Sage Ennis. And Shipley was helping Spiller coach the running backs, which is a very slim group, he writes. Cornerback Fred Davis is in a green jersey, should be ready to go Saturday. Trey Williams was running laps around the field, looks good. Offensive lineman Dietrich Pennington is in green, should be able to contribute soon. Safety Landon Zanders in a green. He'll be in green most of the season. He'll miss contact work. Will Putnam has shifted over to center. Mitchell Mays is now at right guard. And David writes that Uyangalele looks slimmer, lost around 30 pounds. And they're expecting, one of his people up there told him they're expecting big things out of him. He was sporting a huge brace on his right leg. The splint on his throwing hand, broken finger, is gone. He moved better than at any point last year, according to David, and the ball looked like it was coming out of his hand really well. Cade Klubnik, according to David Hood, checks off all the boxes. He's looking forward to see him work. Swinney gathered the team at midfield after stretching. And freshman receiver Adam Randall looks the part, very impressive looking in his early route work. Troy Stellato was returning punts, and he looks better than he did last season at any point, David wrote, after battling injuries. Slot receiver Brandon Spector was on the field for the first time in a year and looked good. Linebacker Trenton Simpson has moved from nickel Sam to Will. And Levante Bentley and Kevin McGuire are playing Mike. Barrett Carter is playing nickel and Sam. And a lot of the former Tigers are on the staff. Taj Boyd, Antoine McClain, Tyrone Crowder, Stephon Anthony, Corey Crawford, Ricky Sapp, Cole Stout, and they're there as well. So those are some notes from David Hood following during today's and following today's practice. Again, the story that he wrote on Mason Trotter earlier today is Dabo Swinney. This had been talked about a little bit here in the offseason about a question whether Mason Trotter would play this year. And Sweeney's quote was Trotter, quote, probably going to be out most of the season, end quote, with a non-injury situation, and said that it was nothing that he is mad at or a legal issue. He'll have 2 seasons of eligibility after this year. So again, that, Chris, it puts Clemson in a bit of a pickle there at center. I mean, they're moving Putnam, who is is he their best offensive lineman? Parks does a great job at right tackle. Nobody ever talks about him, and I think it's because he does his job so well that there aren't a whole lot of mistakes over there. You don't really notice him, which is a good thing as an offensive lineman. If you go unnoticed, I think that means you're doing a pretty good job. McFadden's been solid at left tackle, but it's those middle 3 spots that I think is going to be a bit of a revolving door for the Tigers here in the spring.
And if Dabo Swinney is ever going to change his philosophy, Phil, with regards to the transfer portal, it'll be now, because they've got to address some of those issues along the front line, and not just the starters. You start getting through a long, grueling college football season. What is your depth on the offensive line, and how much is that going to be tested? I don't see any way around Clemson getting a few if they're available. And here's the other question. You just don't go get linemen out of the portal who may not fit your system nor are good enough to play at Clemson. But still, they've got to go find some guys, I think, to try and fill in some of those holes.
All right, let's update some scores. Georgia Tech is leading Clemson 22-20 at the under 8 timeout. And some of the details on this one, both teams are shooting 50%. Georgia Tech's got 4 threes to Clemson's 2, and out-rebounding the Tigers 10-8. And Clemson's being led by Collins with 11 points, and Honor's got 3. And nobody else has got more than 2. Hunter Tyson has played 3 minutes. Chase Hunter, who's been so good, is scoreless in 9 minutes. So Georgia Tech getting more balanced scoring up and down their lineup, and Clemson relying on Collins to this point. He's got 11 points and a rebound. As far as other basketball tonight, we've got A&M and Alabama tied at 24. And it wouldn't hurt South Carolina's chances to have Alabama lose, but they're playing that game in Tuscaloosa. You've got Florida State, Notre Dame tied at 27. How about this in the Big South tournament? Charleston Southern upset UNC Asheville. Charleston Southern won 1 league game all season, and they go to the tournament, and they beat UNC Asheville 79-78, and they did it in the final seconds there, Chris?
That is correct. They were trailing. Asheville, I think, had either just hit a free throw or scored to go ahead, and Charleston pushes it up the floor, and the Bucks miss a three-pointer from the right corner, but no one boxes out on the backside, and CSU is able to collect the rebound and tap it in as time expires. What a thrilling finish for a team that has not had many things go their way, not just this year, but the last couple of seasons.
I would agree. And let's see, what else do we have here in basketball? We got Presbyterian and Campbell in the Big South coming up. Also, Auburn, Mississippi State, LSU, Arkansas, NC State, Wake Forest, Miami, and Boston College still to come tonight in the SEC and the ACC. And we've got the SEC women's basketball tournament, which got underway today as well. And let's see here. Check out a couple of the scores from there. If I can put my eyes on it. Alabama defeats Auburn 75-68. This is women's basketball, 75-68. And Vanderbilt over Texas A&M by a score of 85-69. And the South Carolina women, of course, the number 1 seed, and they will play on Friday. In fact, I think they already know who they're playing, right? Aren't they?
They do.
Already playing like Mississippi State or something?
They get the win of Arkansas and Missouri in the 8-9 matchup. That's who South Carolina will face on Friday. And the luxury of being the top seed is you get to play early throughout the tournament. You don't have to wait around all day in the hotel. So they've got multiple advantages going up to Nashville, not to mention the most talented team in the league, too.
Absolutely. All right, Chris, we're going to let you take off. We've got SC Wild coming up with Major Billy Downer, and we will talk to you tomorrow some leading up to your game.
Yes, sir, from the Pensacola Base Center. Looking forward to being over there tomorrow for the opening of the Sunbelt men's basketball tournament.
Well, I hope you guys haven't gotten too much of a sunburn while you're sitting down there in beautiful Florida doing nothing while we are, working away here in Columbia. All right, sir, have a good one, and we'll be back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Temperatures drop to 46 tonight. Clear and cool skies with a slight breeze blowing in. Thursday, expect sizzling temps all the way up to 84 degrees. It's going to be nice and clear. The clouds start rolling in as the weekend starts, and temps drop slightly Friday to the mid-60s, but back up to the mid-80s Saturday and Sunday. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
When you think about spring, good stuff springs to mind. Like spring break. Woohoo! A friend springing for drinks.
Thanks, dude.
A spring in your step. Spring fever.
Oh, behave.
And best of all, spring water dough pizza from the Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers.
Yeah, baby.
Experience the taste of spring with our amazing hand-tossed pies, spring fresh salads, and over 100 beers from around the world. Enjoy spring at the Mellow Mushroom in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting. Pivotal Senator Joe Manchin has floated the broad outlines of a reconfigured social and environment package that aims half its resources at reducing federal deficits. The West Virginia Democrat described his ideas to reporters Wednesday, a day after President Joe Biden suggested refocusing his own more expensive but stalled plan. Manchin's opposition doomed Biden's 10-year, roughly $2 trillion measure in December. On Wednesday, he provided no figures or details, but his ideas provided a faint flicker of hope that Democrats might revive some version of Biden's marquee legislative priority this election year. His proposal would be a major change in Biden's measure, leaving its fate uncertain. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 596 points, the Nasdaq rose 219, the S&P advanced 80. More details at srnnews.com.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
If you're like me, you're sick and tired of seeing these old TV stars, game show hosts, these athletes telling you how to save money on your Medicare and on your health insurance. These national toll-free numbers are overwhelming us. It's not that people don't need the service. They need good local customer service, not big box toll-free numbers. See, I work directly with Tim Hanberry right here at Medicare Blueprint in the Midlands. When it comes to my family, I want the best family plan. I'm not even on Medicare, but my mom is. So here's what I do want. Someone local to serve as my advisor on the plans and choices that I have, and someone to help mom with her Medicare. I want someone to help me pick the right plan, save me as much money as possible by knowing all the rules of the game. Medicare Blueprint starts the process with you. They will see it through. They answer all your questions. They call you back. It's the same folks helping you start to finish. Tim and his team are independent. They fight for you, not the insurance company. Online, it's MedicareBlueprint.com or call them 708-7398.
Attention listeners, con artists have many tricks for stealing your money, but the AARP Fraud Watch Network is here to help you protect yourself and your family. We give you the tools you need to spot and avoid scams. So listen for the AARP Fraud Watch Network alerts. Use our scam tracking map to see the latest scams and sign up for preventive prevention tips and alerts from law enforcement. To learn how to outsmart con artists before they strike, visit aarp.org/fraudwatch network.
Hi, Chris Neely here from the South Carolina Public Charter School District. Join me every Tuesday afternoon at 5:30 with Kev as we put our kids first. We'll answer all your questions about charter schools in the Palmetto State. Kids first, every Tuesday afternoon at 5:30 on The Point.
Hi, honey. Were you able to drop by Tree Pharmacy today to pick up Mom's medications?
Yes, she sure is on a lot of meds.
I know. That's why I go over so often, to help make sure she's taking them correctly.
Well, I have great news. The pharmacist at True Pharmacy said he can pre-pack her medications into individual doses.
Wow. Knowing she's taking the right meds at the right time will give me great peace of mind. But how much does it cost?
That's the even better part. It's free. Just another great service they offer at True Pharmacy. True Pharmacy, 2 locations, Charleston Highway in West Columbia and Divine Street downtown.
The only afternoon local talk radio in Columbia is the Afternoon Drive with Kev. It's all about you. It's your phone calls. It's my challenging topics. All the news, traffic, and weather weekdays, 4 p.m. on The Point.
Now on Sports Talk, it's SC Wild with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer is here to take your questions about the great outdoors in South Carolina. Give him a call at 888-898-2525. It's SC Wild from DNR on the Sports Talk Radio Network.
Okay, time to welcome in Major Billy Downer here to Sports Talk Media Network, another edition of SC Wild from DNR. It's a beautiful day. We've got beautiful weather all this week. If you're inside and not participating outdoors, Major, then something's wrong with you. Get out there and do something.
Absolutely great weather, good fishing weather. A lot of folks going out and fishing in some fresh water, salt water, wherever. It's just fun to fish right now. It's nice and warm. Not sure the cold weather's gone for good, but we'll enjoy it while we have it.
Well, what are your meteorologists telling you about the weather ahead?
Well, I have not gotten a check-in on that. I need to get a little bit better report. I think we've got some cold days this month, though, coming up. But this weekend's going to be warm, and the Bassmaster Classic is on Lake Hartwell this weekend at Green Pond Landing in Anderson County. Big event area there. Starts up, I think, tomorrow. I know Friday's when the tournament starts. They got festivities, an open house for people to come in there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for the public to come out there. Our Tomo Heritage Trailer's there, and a lot of other exhibits are there for the Bassmaster Classic. So folks are encouraged to go out in Anderson County and enjoy that, walk around, take a look. They'll be cutting down the competitors from Friday into Sunday for that Bassmaster Classic again on Lake Hartwell. So I look forward to see some big fish probably.
I would think so. I always find it kind of interesting when I run across coverage of a bass fishing tournament. First of all, the skill and knowledge that goes into being a champion and how you handle yourself on the water and how you know how to look for the fish. And then, of course, when you're pulling them out, making sure you've got the right ones that meet the qualifications. Then they have the big weigh-in back at the pier. It's all very interesting stuff to watch.
Well, absolutely. And people don't realize how much money these guys have invested in the equipment they're using. I was talking to my training lieutenant today, and yesterday we were just talking about, everybody has things that they enjoy spending money on, whether it's collecting guns, collecting knives, what have you. And, you look at it, you go, well, he spent several $100s on that knife, or he spent, $1,000 or more on this rifle or whatever else. And it's all relative, because you look at a fishing, one of these guys that's doing these tournaments, whether it's the Bassmasters, FLW, whatever, they've got $10,000 in lures in that boat.
Amazing.
Not to mention the boat itself. The money they've got in the boat, motor, trailer, the vehicle, the gas they've got to pay, even especially now, gas, and you can't put ethanol free gas mostly in these motors. So you're paying premium price for that. And you got to get to these tournaments and drive around. So I mean, it's expensive for folks to do it. The reward can be big, but a lot of investment in that. So $20,000-$30,000 in a boat or more, $40,000-$50,000 in some boats. I mean, But the equipment, the rods, the lures, nobody thinks about that. All the plastic bait you got in that boat, it's worth a lot of money when you count it all up. So a lot of money invested in that. But again, it's relative to what you spend it on. Some people collect guns, some people collect knives, some people fish. So all relative.
What kind of you mentioned the plastic lures. I mean, for the championship bass fisherman, what's the most successful lure that you know of?
Holy cow. That would be like throwing a dart with your eyes closed. Who knows? Some worms, some, it just depends on the day, it depends on the water temperature. Because, top water bait, crankbaits, worms, Carolina rig, famous, most bass fishermen probably use the Carolina rig more than anything else in the summertime. But then, there's crankbaits, there's your baits that do kind of a shallow water dive, and there's a deep water crankbaits. I mean, it's just it's so much. It's hard to tell. But everybody's got their, every year, a couple of years, you get that favorite worm. And then those that came out with hooks. How sharp your hook going to be? I remember when Gamakatsu, the hook came out, and everybody thought that was laser sharp. There was nothing any sharper than that. And now there's so many different hooks out there you can choose from, because the sharper the hook, of course, the better you're going to get a bite. A little bit of a light bite, you're going to catch that fish. So anyway, so much to it.
What's amazing to me too, Major, this is SC Wild with Major Billy Downer from DNR. You go to the really big events, the national championships and all this sort of stuff, the Masters, the Bass Masters championships, the thousands of people who will show up to watch the weigh-in. And I've seen coliseums filled with it. We've done it here in Columbia, as you well know, and I think they've held it over at the Colonial Life Arena. Thousands of people show up just to watch them weigh the fish.
Absolutely. Like I was talking about, so BASS, FLW try to make their events their fishing tournaments an event.
Mm-hmm.
They try to make it a destination location for people to come. And, you're talking about, when they do it in the Colonial Life Arena, look at all the exhibits and all those rooms and all that space. They got all the different types of lures and companies out there showing off their wares. And outside, they've got a huge outside area. It almost becomes a carnival out there with all the stuff out there. And you're right, thousands of people show up. So it's a big deal. It's a big event. Bass Masters, is a big deal. Coming to Anderson County up there, getting some really quality fishermen on Lake Hartwell. So it'll be a good event. Again, encourage folks to go out. If you haven't been to one, go out there and see what they got out there. Exhibits wise, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It won't be as big as the Colonial Life Arena, but still, Green Pond's a very nice, large event facility. So large landing. We call it, I guess you call it a mega ramp, because it's made for tournaments.
Yeah,
so
I got to
really
believe
nice.
too, in the towns that these events come to, whether they're the major ones or a notch or two down, it's great for the community. It generates money. It generates publicity. I think it's all good.
Oh, absolutely. It's your local chamber of commerce eats this up for sure, because you get hotels, you get restaurants, and if people come to watch these events, they're included in that. They're going to spend money, so it's a big deal. It's been interesting. You talk about that. Hunting and fishing is so often overlooked from an economic standpoint. But when our state, we have a tremendous resource. We talk about it all the time, how many boats we have in South Carolina and all the great water. 30% of our state's water. But that water's great fishing. And there's tournaments that come to this state every year that bring a lot of money into this state, as far as the competitors spending money, your folks coming to watch the tournament. Just like you said, not Colonial Life Arena, just there, Charleston, wherever.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much that gets brought in you don't think about. But the money that's generated from hunting and fishing, I can't remember. We had a figure on that. It was pretty impressive. How many millions of dollars get generated in hunting and fishing each year in South Carolina. But it's a lot bigger than you think.
Oh, I would think so. I would think so. This is SC Wild with the Major Billy Downer. What else you got on your plate tonight?
Well, we talked about fishing. You got a tournament coming up, so that's a big show right now this weekend. But the class is coming up. Do you want to talk about that? Get some energy built up about that.
Absolutely.
Into the month. So the Classic in the past we've had different people come, different big names be there. The Classic's been real popular over the last 30 years. With just I think it's the largest outdoor show besides the state fair at the fairgrounds. It's a big deal. A lot of people at that, and we're going to have the state duck calling competition is going to be back there. It's been many years since that's been back, and that's going to be on Sunday, the last day of the Classic. So the state duck calling competition again. That'll be a real nice show on the 27th of March. So 25th, 26th, 27th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is a Classic. But 27th on Sunday, it'll be in Rosewoods at the state fairgrounds. And so it'll be inside. If you got bad weather, we'll still have it inside there. And that'll be this year's the state. We'll have a champion of champions, which is the past winners of the state duck calling contest can compete against one another for a prize. And then they have the junior state duck calling competition, which will be anyone under the age of 16 can participate in that. And then there's the adult or the state duck calling competition will follow after those two. Anybody is able to come put into that. You have people come from out of state sometimes too to compete in the state duck calling competition. So be a lot of fun, a lot of excitement. We've done that on the show before, talked about duck calling and the different things, the different parts of the routine. Certainly a little louder than your normal hunting situation with duck calling. A lot of high ball, a lot of, some feed chuckling there, some transition calls, comeback calls, but very loud, a lot of air, a minute and a half routine. So it'll be fun to watch. I hope we get a good participation this year. Again, first year back at the Classic. So looking forward to that. The winner of the state duck calling competition and the winner of the junior state duck calling competition will receive a lifetime hunting and fishing license. A pretty nice prize.
Wow.
Yep. That's $500 value. For
Lifetime. You're talking lifetime hunting and fishing license.
That's right. The winner.
Wow.
Will receive that. So that's a pretty nice little prize. The Hampton Wildlife Fund kind of got involved and offered that up to kind of get the duck calling competition back to the wildlife, to the Hampton weekend here. So that's why we're doing that. Put a little bit, energy into that to have that nice prize. So we got a lot of energy, hopefully build up with that. People want to compete. So it should be a lot of fun. Again, Palmetto Sportsman's Classic, again, raises money. It's the single biggest fundraiser for the Hampton Wildlife Fund each year. Hampton Wildlife Fund gives a lot of money to support all of DNR's programs that can't be funded through state government. It allows things to happen like fishing rodeos that are happening in our local counties. A lot of folks don't realize that a lot of those rodeos are paid for by money from the Hampton Wildlife Fund, which comes from events like the Palmetto Sportsman's Classic, as well as their fundraising events in Spartanburg and Columbia. Wildlife Ball will be this year, the Thursday before the Classic, be the second annual. COVID kind of closed it after the first annual one last 2 years, but this will be the first time back. So the Wildlife Ball will be Thursday night, and that's going to be at Seawolf, right across from the fairgrounds there on Rosewood Avenue. So looking forward to that. It's a good fundraising night. So folks looking for something to do, those tickets are available. Again, separately, that's Thursday night. There'll be a banquet, live auction, and a silent auction with lots of outdoor trips and wares to be had. So that's the Hampton Wildlife Ball, the second annual, and that'll be Thursday, the 24th, before the Classic begins.
Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question,
sir.
if I may jump in. So around the offices of DNR, how many folks are working full-time on the things you're talking about, in particular the Classic and the lead up to the Classic? How many of your staffers are working full-time on that? How big a deal is this within your offices?
Well, so for our department, it's a great question, Phil. It's mostly vendors. All the buildings are vendors now. They built the Canny 1. They call it Canny 2. Those big buildings, we have full of vendors, outdoor vendors. But our department, so officers work the Classic every year. From the time I started in the late 90s, I worked the Classic every year. And they work security posts, in other words, basically make sure to keep things safe for folks who attending the Classic. Look for lost children, those kind of things to help out. So we got anywhere from around probably 20 to 30 officers working daily, the Classic at different positions across there. And then we've got staff from every division manning booths in the Ellison building that will display basically every aspect of what the Department of Natural Resources is. So South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, as we've talked about on the show, is so much more now than just a wildlife department. It's marine resources, it's land and water, it's our meteorology section, our climatology. You've got, the law enforcement division, everybody knows. The wildlife section, everybody knows. Fisheries, people know that. But they don't know the different things that we do. Our wildlife magazine, like I said, land and water. They've got the geology section. We've got our heritage trust properties. You've got archaeology. It's a part of all that. So many aspects of DNR that will be on display in the Ellison building. So the Ellison building will probably have another 30 to 40 people working every day from across the department, displaying what their division does within the Department of Natural Resources. So pretty neat saltwater touch tank. You've got the big freshwater tank to show the different fish. It's always fun to see a big crappie in there, big bass, big catfish. And then outside, we always have the fishing tank with the trout, or the catfish is now catfish, I think, mostly. But we do that catch tank for kids to come out and fish, which is kind of fun. Always been tradition at the Classic to have that big catch the pool out there that kids can come and fish for a little bit and then go back out with the parents and look at some of the exhibits. So, but a lot of folks, all of our divisions will be there.
So for you personally, what do you enjoy more about the Classic? Is it the exhibits? Is it some of the fine arts of what people do, like duck calling or the turkey calls, or maybe there's somebody in there making lures and things like that? Or is it some of the competitive stuff that they have, like, don't they bring in various livestock and animals and have them on display and have people doing various things with them in terms of showing them off and stuff like that?
So we don't have livestock, but probably the best part of the Classic is just all of the new gear that comes out. And because of the timing of the Classic, it's always the kind of start of turkey season. So everybody's new turkey calls out, every one of those new gears out there, and you got vendors that bring out stuff and really put on a pretty good price point for folks. So it's a great opportunity to get items at a pretty good price point. So for me, the Classic is about shopping a little bit smarter and getting to see a variety of the different of hunting gear that's available now, and you get it at a pretty good price. So, and there's so much of it to go look at: fishing, hunting, turkey calls, whatever. You've got safes, you've got grills. I mean, Traeger grills will have a whole setup there, and they'll be cooking the whole weekend, and that from the nickel store, and that'll be a big hit. A lot of Traeger grills will get sold this weekend, that weekend. So not this weekend, but that weekend. So at the end of the month. So again, boats. A lot of people like to go shop boats. You'll have Marshall's Marine there and other marinas out there selling boats up and down the Midway. Good chance to see that. You've got farm equipment, different groups out there showing, different food plot things, little small tractors for guys that have little hunt clubs that want to have a smaller tractor to do some of the implements to do some of the work they need to do for food plots, bush hogs and discs and things, and plot masters to help plant food plots to attract more deer and more wildlife to your area. So a really variety. But for me, there's some art in some of the buildings, and we do display some of that. But for most folks, it's about the vendors and the opportunity to go look at get some good prices on stuff, from fishing gear to hunting gear.
So, Major, just to kind of piggyback on that, for myself and any of my friends, family, or anybody listening out there that may be looking to, we're getting geared up for the season as the weather is warming up, and maybe we need to update our bait and tackle supply or whatever, or I need new equipment for the boat. You're saying this may be a good resource rather than going somewhere else. Come here, get an expert opinion, and that may be the way to go.
Absolutely. There's so many fishing lures out in big trays for folks to go through. Rubber worms, you name it, different types of worms, the slugs, the flukes, all those different types of lures to choose from. So it is a great opportunity to find a variety of gear, again, fishing and or hunting, at a pretty good price. Particularly on Sunday, I always folks come out on Sunday, trying to get a better deal on the way out the door. But everything from grills to hunting and fishing gear, boats, clothing, you name it. A lot of good vendors. Haypo's there. Haypo will have a lot of their T-shirts on sale and different gear, into the season gear. So there's a good opportunity to get a price there. So again, a lot of great vendors to look at. And remember, Sunday, State Duck Calling Championship will be Sunday. Both the champions, the junior state duck calling competition, and the state duck calling competition overall, beginning at 12 o'clock through the afternoon. So that'll be a fun event, and that's in the Rosewoods, which is inside, sort of right down the midway you come in on the main entrance. So,
all right, now who
is
your favorite in the older division of the duck calling here in the state? Who is your favorite? Who do you expect to win, or maybe you got 2 or 3 on your mind?
Well, it depends on who shows up, because you never know who's going to show up. Mark Ackerman's always has been a friend of mine for a long time. Sigrad made duck calls. I called with his call for many years. Great duck call. We've had him on the show before talking about the different aspects of calling, but he is probably always a favorite. There's others out there. It's just so many different ones to talk through. Jesse Tucker, he was a young kid way back, 16-year-old star, came through, and then he's won state and he comes back. I just go through the names in my head and think Ed Paul. Again, he started off, he won the world at 16 years old, junior world, and then he has won state a bunch of times too. So he may come up there. I bet if I had to guess, if I had to put my name on somebody, I'd almost put it on Ed. Ed's a pretty good winner. He's good. And I've watched him since he was a kid. So took him on his first duck hunt. So I guess I got to put my money on Ed. I followed him since he was a kid.
What we ought to do in a couple of weeks, this is the 2nd, so in a couple of weeks will be the 16th. So that'll be leading up to it. We ought to, with your help, maybe line up 1 or 2 of your favorite duck callers and have them on with us so they can display their talents.
We might do that. We'll do that in the office, maybe. We'll do a live show there at the office, let them blow it out.
That'll work. You put that together. What advice do you have for people? We got about 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes. So folks listening, making plans for that big weekend at the end of this month, what advice do you have about, maybe getting tickets or making your plans in advance to get there? What advice do you have?
So tickets are available at the gate, and I don't remember the exact cost. I need to look that up. I couldn't remember I knew you were going to ask me probably how much it was going to cost, but very inexpensive though for a day to come in and see all that. Remember, all the money goes to the Hampton Wildlife Fund and goes to fund all the programs that DNR. Many of the programs DNR does, again, that can't be funded through the state. So it's a great way to support the scholarship funds, to support fishing rodeos and lots of things at Hampton Wildlife. They even support our honor guard. But block out the weekend. Again, March 25th, 26th, 27th. Good weekend, one of those days, come in there. And between now and then, we'll have some warm weather here this weekend. I do want to say before we get off, make sure if you're going boating, we're going to start talking about our boating safety again, reminding folks, remember, check your boat out before you go out. Make sure you got your life jackets on board. That they're in good shape, no rips or tears, that they're where you can get to them, and you have enough for everybody on board, and they fit the intended user. Make sure you check that before you go out with small children, that they fit the intended user this weekend before you go fishing in this warm weather. But again, go out and enjoy it. Check your registration cards. Make sure your registration is up to date, and have that whistle in case you need help. But mainly, again, life jackets. Be safe on the water so you can go back out again in the weeks to come.
Yeah, like you said before, your boat's been sitting. Let's just say this is the first time you've gotten into your boat and you're preparing it to go out. It's been sitting since last year. There's bound to be some deterioration in some areas.
Oh, yeah. Life jackets sit up under the seat, for instance. Cold weather, hot weather, rain, mildew forms, that material will break down. So make sure you check your life jackets before you go out, so that it will work if you need them. You do not want a life jacket that the stuffing comes out of, because it won't do you any good.
No. That's not a good feeling to jump in the water with a life jacket and the innards of it are coming out.
That's not good. No, it's not. It can't help you when that happens. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Major, we'll let you put a wrap on it here.
all right. So thank you. Y'all have a safe next 2 weeks. We'll see you.
We look forward to it, sir. Thank you. You have a great couple of weeks in the outdoors. Be safe. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Major Billy Downer from DNR SC Wild here on Sports Talk on this Wednesday night. We love having the Major on. I have learned, for a guy that knew nothing when we started with him years ago, I have learned so much about the great outdoors, and there's so much more to learn. I don't think you can ever stop learning about hunting and fishing and boating and things like that. At the half, Georgia Tech is leading Clemson 33-27. We'll have coverage on our website, sportstalksc.com later, and also we'll have Dabo Sweeney up on the website tonight as well. So check it out. Thank you, Pat. And thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Local in the morning, afternoon, and evening. Columbia's local talk radio experience. 107 The Point.
Make thepointradio.com.
The Point. The Point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.